Okay, while we have our engines drying, we have a few holes we got to put for flashers and stuff like that. One thing that's going to go on with this piece is we're going to have, I think it's 3 red lights. 2 come out of this area here, those 2, and then 1 comes out of here. So we got to drill those. Those are going to be 0.8 for the fiber optic stack. We can just stick, 1 red LED and then have it send red light through that. It'll be coming from this way, so we can probably just put a bulb here and then boom, boom, and then down, boom. And then we have to put a flasher right there. So we can get the flasher. It's right at this. There's like 1, 2, 3 gridded off. I don't know if you're going to see it in camera, but there's like little rectangles that are gridded off with little panel lines right there. They kind of give you 1, 2, 3 squares. It's in the dead center of this last bottom one. Use the same bit that I use for the nacelle flashers for that clear plastic that will leftover windows. We'll use that for all these too. If not, you can even just eventually later just stick a piece of fiber optic in there. Or window maker. There's that hole for that. But for these tiny ones, I gotta use my little tiny drill bit. Oh. And what I've been doing is using this to give me my center. This scribe tool works great for like a little center punch. Because these tiny bits will walk. Because before they can start digging into the plastic, they can move and then they flex too. So it's not like you can get any real pressure on it until it really starts burrowing. And we get one in the center of this. I'm trying to think of what this is back in the back. Is this a torpedo tube for the rear of the ship? I think so. Like when they took out in the movie Generations, I think that torpedo that they shot at the bird of prey was from out of here. So I believe that's what that is. Gary on his thing says that he just shows he has them all lit up at the same time. I'm going to look. I have it pulled up right now. Yeah, what he did is he stuck 1 red LED back here and then bundled 3 fiber optics, 1, 2, and then 3. But I believe that's a torpedo. I wouldn't mind that flashing. The same as right here in the front. Once the neck's put on, that's the front one. And I believe that's the rear one. So I wouldn't mind having them flashing, especially on the one that I'm going to have separated. Because I want that. These are actually lights, I believe. I'm not sure what these areas are. And then I have on the 2 others, I'm putting photo. There's a little photo etch detail that goes there. And same thing here. Now the build for Boyd, I don't have the photo etch for that. We'll just build it as normal. But now I'm wondering if I should have that flash just to give animation there. Because I can have this front one flash too. And I don't know what they give you for. I know they give you a photo etch piece that wraps around that neck part. Right there. Yeah, and there's the torpedo, and it has the same shape as what goes on there. So that's the photon. There's the front one, and there's the back one. So I'd like to put an LED in there and make these flash. And I'll just use a flashing LED. Doesn't need to be any sequence. They don't have to be together. Actually, the more or less they're together, the better. Oh, I see. Now I see why they gave you two or four of these. You put one on the front and one on the back in those little raised areas where the ridge. That's pretty brilliant. It'll give you definitely light blocking. So if that's the case, I won't light this one with these. These will leave on. And with all the light being blasted in here, I can just take 2 fiber optics and just stick them down in there like I did with the Battlestar Galactica. You know, you just light the hole inside and then drill your holes, and then you can just stick fiber optics in the holes. Mushroom the top over and just stick them down in. I think that's what I'm going to do with that. It'll pick up the light that's going to be in here to light all this. And all I have to do is just color them red. We'll try that. We'll do a test. If not, I'll put a little LED here and have it. But here we definitely want to, or here we definitely want, I think I'm going to make those flash. Why not? But that's what we're going to do there. But let's get back to what we did. I did a little center punch on here because, like I said, these bits are very flexible and it takes them a minute to first start. If you want to stay on center, that's what you're going to do. Alright, torpedo launcher. Here we go. We got that one, and sometimes I like to come through the back. Helps clear out the holes. And these two, which I'm not sure what they are, but I should see if there's like Trek culture and all that stuff. Generation Tech as well. Another YouTube channel I like watching on certain things. I wonder if they have anything on the or there's another guy, Jared. He does 3D modeling, and he'll do stuff. He'll do 3D models on ships. Like I think he has a whole lineage of all the Enterprises and what's the difference. But he'll have it in depth and deck to deck. You know, and you can kind of see the whole schematics of the whole blueprint layout, where you know engines are and their water tanks that produce water for the rest of the ship, and all the different crew quarters and rec halls that are inside all these. He goes through every deck. That's a good channel to check out, but I want to see if he has anything or if there's any information on what these are. But that's it. This one we're going to make a flasher, because that's a torpedo. And so that's what we do here, and then there's our nav flasher, our white will be there, and that's it as far as, you know, things like that. We just got a lot of windows to drill out. And then on the bottom half, we just had to drill one hole right there for its strobe. And it kind of falls in this little detail here. You got a rounded corner rectangle, but then you have a little divide right here. It's in the center of that part. So that'll be cool. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be done on this, except for a little trench out here. I think we follow this line, this panel line would probably work. Because we're going to have fiber optics come through here to give us the red and green light that you see on in the movie and the TV show. There's a red and green light right on this rim. But the only way to access it is to grind this way, put fiber optic in there, and then just putty that over. And we don't have to worry about going through this phaser array here, these two, because it's going to, we're either going to file these off, or I'm going to see if I can get these photo etches to actually press over it. It's probably these two here, because we do have to make these arch, because they're flat, and they're not supposed to be flat, they're supposed to be raised. So I'm hoping that I can just kind of go over top, and then just, once I null these, by heating up the photo etch, it allows the photo etch being more flexible, and I'm hoping I can kind of do something like this and then just press to get the shape. If not, we'll have to do the old bending around like this, kind of. But the fun part, it's not so bad for like here where it doesn't have the round cap on yet, because this must be the front one. You probably got to attach like these two to it or something. But these ones that where it's already rounded, and you gotta kind of make that round. So, but all that will cover anything we do there too. And if we follow that panel line, which I think puts it in the right spot, that panel line right there gives it the spacing it needs. And then we'll grind our other trenches. That's all there is to this piece as far as those pieces, as far as getting holes ready for lighting. Besides the major window lighting we got going on. This part here doesn't have anything except for some window lights up here. On one of them, this is actually going to be the bridge, so I think it gets a clear part in there. If you're going to have the saucer down, that hole actually is for the saucer to plug into. But if this is actually going to be the bridge, so that's already held out. And the one that's actually going to have the bridge on, or the actual saucer on, we got to drill a hole here, a big hole for all our wires to come down into the lower hall. And they say to drill it off to the side, because there's supposed to be a little notch catcher there, but I'm not seeing it on this. Here's the bottom of the saucer. So this would normally pop in here if you're going to have this together. I think these just give height. That's all these three. They just give a kind of height that you need. Because the top part of the saucer will come in and fill all that in. Oh, well, then you have more detail back here. But we'll probably have to get rid of, on the one that the saucer is going to be off and you're going to be able to see down here, we'll probably have to get rid of those. Because there's the latches that these all lock into. And also transmit power and communications and all that to the other to the two halves. But yeah, I think we'll definitely have to get rid of that. Surprised they didn't give you photo etch for in here. But there's really not much to it. You don't really see much. I don't know. So, but yeah, we'll get rid of those high points. As far as holes on anything else, I think that's it. Just windows. Windows, windows, windows. I mean, eventually there's some cutting to do. In the saucers, we have holes. We're going to try to get, I think you have a little bit of a raisedness, yeah, just here. I'm going to try to get my nav lights. Gary said he kept his on the insides of the pegs. But then that puts them way in here, and they're not. They're more out here, and I think I can get them right out here. If we go from the thickness of this, if I measure from, how's that set? Completely parallel, and so if I measure from the edge here to where I have space in here, and on this one, on this the top? Yeah, that's the top. If I drill that hole right there, and also the center of this panel line does not exactly line up with this. This is kind of off that way. Maybe not. That's just an illusion. But yeah, if I drill a hole right there and measure how far off that hole is from here, I can do the same thing here. So it'll probably be right about there. And that's not too bad. That puts that light right about there, which is okay. And that'll be for all three of them. That will be the holes we get up here. We'll have 1, 2, 3 to take care of the navigation lights, and then the one for the flasher up on the top. There'll be one for a flasher down here, which I'm not sure. And then the bottom, we also have to, on 2 of them, cut this out and actually put this photo etch detail in. Once you fold this, it will make a kind of almost like a wedge. They don't have that detail here. So as the ship's flying, you should see the windows, and it's like scooped. It's like scooped in, and you see windows there. So the photo etch gives me detail for 2 of the ships to do that. And that's all the major cut in on this, and then of course the 3 holes. But I'm rambling, so I'm going to call it a night and let those engines dry. Okay, let's get some trenches dug in this lower hull plate. What I did is ran some tape to continue this line up and made sure my engine's lined up too, since I already pre-drilled the holes for this. But we're gonna trench into this outer seam here. That way we don't have to replace any of this, but I believe decals, the Aztec decals will cover a lot of that anyway, but just so we have some of that, when they sink down, we'll still have some of that 3-dimension of that. I'd rather not, instead of them looking flat. So I just ran tape to continue that up. Then we have, so that's for the wires that goes into the cells. And then we have, there's supposed to be 2 nav lights back here, red and a green. And if you follow these, there is a panel line there, or detail. There's one there and one there. If you follow this one here, that's where it should be. So we're going to have to trench those out. So I'll just follow that panel line. It gives me a good straight edge and spacing and everything. And then we'll just fill that all in with putty, and we'll, we can even make it a height. Since they, on these older kits, everything's raised detail. Like even the panel lines are raised. So we'll try to make it look like that. And what I've been doing, trying to do it with a disc gets hard because you're kind of almost cutting at an angle. You're kind of doing that, which I don't like, and I have no way to stable my hand because the part of the nacelle pylons are right there. So what I found is this little jeweler's cut engraver cuts me a really good channel, and I can actually do that from this direction. But it's a spinning little, those look like that. I don't know if I can get some light on there, but those look like that, and they have that little ball, and I have different sizes, but this will work perfect. But you know, they want to spin and grab and move. So there's this little tool that comes with some of your Dremel tips. It's kind of just like a piece. It almost looks like metal sandpaper, and it goes to a point. So that gives me. I've been using this to kind of scribe my at first, and then it keeps it in a channel for that to finish off, and this makes a real clean cut otherwise. So that's what I've been doing here. Try it. Get me some light here. And that just gives me a guide for that other piece. Because it's not giving me a lot of resistance, so it's not one to bounce and take off like this one does. Now we can come in with this. I might bring the light down a little lower. And then paying attention to how deep I go. Get these burrs out of the way because it's getting hard to see. Let's see our depth. We can come a little deeper. But it doesn't need to be much deep here. We'll have to notch a little bit in this top of the hull. Anyway. I think that's enough for them. And then I can just take a file and kind of clean them up a little bit. Make sure we got a good straight shot. And then the file also helps you. You can set your depth in the back here, because you can kind of go deeper as you come out. I don't want to break through that at the other side here. So there, I'm just keeping it so that my trench is as deep as this part there, and then you can kind of fade it down. I think all we'd have to do there is just notch it. Just a little. It's not a cup, it gets quite flat. But what we'll do is we'll lay this here, and then we can mark where we need to notch it. And we'll definitely have to notch this one too for these. And then we'll fill this in anyway. Alright, so we're happy with that. Now let's try this one. This one's one that's scaring me, but I think I can use the disc to do this, because I can come in this way, and that would help me with the curve. So we're going to use the disc on this. What can I do to get this to stay? Put a big piece of tape here. And that way I can just concentrate and keep my hand stable. Maybe we'll try it. Nothing wrong with at least trying it. Well, if I use the black stage tape, that'll hold it down. But let's see if this painter's tape will work. I think if I get a piece on the front to keep that from wanting to kick. I do something like this. That might work. We'll try it. I need a little clampy clamps. Alright. Sometimes I wish these wheels were bigger, or you had a longer. I could probably bring this bit out a hair more. There we go. Or I should have brought this more out to the edge of the table. Well, let's give it a whirl. Nothing to it but to do it. That's why I'm wondering if I should try that a little bit. Because these you can actually grind both directions too. Let's see, now that we have a starter trench, if this will work. Definitely giving us a cleaner cut, but I'm gonna do like I did here and scribe me a little guide trench. Yep, just finding what works. Like I said, that wheel's every little wiggle in my hand, my unsteady hands, it wants to move around. For the other two ships that I have the trench covers, it's not a big deal. Because we can burn right up the center. The trench covers will give us the detail for the photo etch to sit, or for the decals to sit on, so we don't have to worry about any of that. So that's going to be great. I like trying to run that way. So I should probably flip this around. Get rid of the dust. That way. I can kind of work from this direction. I don't know how well it'll be for you guys. It still seems weird. It's getting a comfortable way of doing this without so that you can see and have stability. I think that would be easier to get. And then there we're past the detail. Anyway. Might as well do this side while I'm here. Like I said, all that's going to be fixed. And that's why I did it on this outer one, because it gives you plenty of in between the detail of this part and that. So that's no problem. I'm so glad the other ones I only have to concentrate on a nice trench there. The rest this is going to be fine. But then we'll come in with this jeweler's engraving bit and we'll clean it up. I do like how this is cleaning them up. Sweet. I am happy with that. There we go. This model is making a mess in here. All this grinding and sanding and... Alright. Yeah, so then I can come in here like with this and clean that up. Yeah, that looks good. And got good depth, at least coming up. Yeah, very happy. And even just the front edge of this will pretty much scrape that clean too. That trench. You can almost use that as like a scraping tool as well. Just wanted to get rid of all these little burrs. There we go. There's some flashing on these I gotta clean up too. But there you go. I just wanted to show that. Well, I guess we might as well notch this really quick on this video. So what I'll do is just that. Sure she's fitting pretty even. We gotta do the notches for that too. Almost forgot. There we go, and then it's got the 4 marks that way. And we'll just follow that, and I guess we'll just look off of this side. Oop, don't want that tool. Alright, I think I might just start with that little notch and then use the file to make it blend in that way. those should be fine because they're only getting a little 8mm or a .8, probably actually a .75 fiber optic going through. So that doesn't need much. It's great. Just want to make sure these are good. This is gonna have the majority of the big wire, and if anything comes up here, we can putty. We're puttying that seam anyway, so. Yep. And we can tweak more once we actually get the wires in. But that's it, yeah. A couple little trenches there. Not going to matter because all the seam's going to get, if you kind of have a couple, like here you can kind of see a little bit of it coming up on this curve. Not too bad though, I'm actually happy. But all that seam is going to be puttied up anyway. And the pylon's still feel pretty strong. That's the other reason why I wanted to put this trench out here instead of using this one. You get really thin on this edge here. So this one seems to be the better one. But like I said, if you have the covers, you can go right up in the center, or if you don't really care about the raised detail beam anymore, you can just file that off, or just dig your trench right in there, and if you have the Aztec decals, give you a part that covers that. So all you do is just get it nice and level. The cells are nice. I've been going back and checking and squeezing to make sure there's no weak points. I got a little gap between the plastic and of the grill in there. I've been actually finding that this has been filling it in because it's small enough that this glue will actually fill it in. And then glue is clear, and then it almost makes like a fake plastic. But I found the other nacelle had once the whole side here didn't glue down. I don't know if I just didn't get enough glue, or heck, I couldn't even not hit that edge of the plastic. But I'm also a little weary. Let me see, I have it clamped now. I'm also a little weary because clear styrene does not glue as well. Yeah, I'm here in another spot. Not sure which side. It's this side. Clear styrene does not glue as well as your other stuff does. Like, you know, regular styrene. Being that it is definitely different because it is more brittle, so it's hard. It's a harder plastic. A little different formula. I guess they still consider it a styrene, but yeah. So, and then this whole nacelle is all riding on, except for right here. It's all riding on being glued onto this styrene, and then it's sandwiched between it is the hard clear plastic styrene that just doesn't want to glue together the best. I think that is all we have to do. As far as notches on the lower hull. Yeah, we got the holes drilled in for the fiber optics there. There's our flasher. That's going to be our torpedo, which we'll put a flasher there. Yeah, so we're good. We can start actually building this up. I'm going to say we're going to hit it with some black in here and in here. And then we can start getting components in. Figure out how we're lighting this deflector dish. Boyd, I saw on Boyd's, he actually did a some posts and then ran a blue LED strip. That might be the way to go. Instead of having multiple blue bulbs. Yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do. I got tons of blue LED strip. I got that whole roll. Oh, the only problem with doing that, here's my dilemma. The only problem with blasting that with blue is that blue spill. It's almost like if we put, I got to see where the deflector sits in here. But there's windows here I'd like to have white. So we might do a white strip. And we'll actually paint the plastic pieces blue. Yeah, I was really hoping to be able to just blow blue light out there, so the same situation like with the nacelles, when they're off, you're not seeing, a blue. A lot of all that's getting copper anyway, so I wanted to kind of do that copper bronzy gold. I guess I have to do a little more research on what's going on inside there. But I don't believe that's how it's going to be. I believe the easiest, definitely the easiest way would be to blow a white light in there, and it doesn't matter if it bleeds. I don't have to light block it or anything. Well, here she is. Here she's come along. I don't know if I showed you with it all the together. I just did a little dry fit. The wires are fitting down into its notches fine, and they'll go down inside here. I believe so. Oh yeah, just fine. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, so they're fitting down in those trenches just fine. But let me power her on, because I don't know if I showed you like with the whole thing running. Alright, we got probably something going on over here. I'm hoping. Yeah. There we go. She's running and she's looking good. So we can move on. We got the, I guess, we got the trenches in the lower engineering hall for our marker lights in the very back, and then we notched out for all that, and then we got our holes. I found out that this is Gary, I think, has it marked as a flasher, but it's a steady on. So I'm going to leave that as a steady on, or wonder if I could even put this as to go on with the nav lights, where it slowly goes on and off. Where these I want the actual blink, where these are slower. I think I'm going to leave it steady on, because that's the way it looked like on the TV show. Or was it Picard? It's hard to find any, unless you actually go and watch an episode. I thought usually they have, clips on YouTube, people put clips, every Enterprise D clip, scene or stuff like that. But I haven't found anything like that. But I caught a thing where they restored this, Geordi did, and when it did a flyby, that was steady. And these are flashing, so we'll do that. But we're also, we can get this out of the way, because this is not what we're working on. But we have everything prepped, all the holes in here. It's all window holes next on this. Same thing down here, and then I want to hit it with the black afterwards. But I figure we get stuff prepped so we can light block, and I like a lot of times to have the holes in. So we can start getting some of the marker light holes. The tops, it's just going to need our red and greens, and then there's a white one up front, and then we got marker lights. Well, not a much. One marker light, we're going to have a flasher on the bridge. Gary shows he puts his flasher here and then a regular bulb in here just so you can light these windows up on the bridge. And he's having this as a flasher, but that's actually the bridge dome. That's what you see, I'm assuming you see in the TV series. If they pan up, you see the dome that's lit up. That's what that is. So I think I can drill a smaller hole, and whether I run a little fiber optic You know, I can even probably put a little SMD in there, then tool a bit so we don't get a flashing on the dome, and then we don't get a constant where it's kind of dimmer. Um, I could glue that SMD right at the hole and just stick a little fiber down, because I don't think I'm going to have a small enough um, clear plastic part like we used on the engines. So we'll stick a little fiber down. I think that would be the best way to do that. And that's the only place I can think, because on the show it shows the ship going by, and you're seeing it from the back view, and you see the bridge dome, but then you see a little flashing back here, and that's the only place I can think of putting one. It's probably right on this upper rim, but you can't get a hole there. And then with the clear part there, I think that's going to be a little tight. Maybe. Let's look at some. These holes here are only a 0.8, and they're pretty small. Yeah, I just think it would look better if it's just down on the flat part, even though it's kind of low. Usually they put it on the high point on the bridge. But the NX1 is back here behind the bridge, and it's kind of low, I believe. So that's what we'll do. There's like two little detail things here. I'll put it right in the center there. Keep it all in the center. But yeah, I don't want to use the bridge dome for a flasher. So that wouldn't be accurate. So we'll figure all that out when we get there. We'll have a full light that comes in here and lights all the windows up in here. And I think doing like I said will work. But I already measured. What I went in here and did is I measured off the rim and got it in between, got a measurement in between the locating pin and this wall. And that way I can sneak a little SMD right there and get a clear part. We'll do the same thing we did with the engines. We'll put a clear part right there. In there. I can cut one to fit in there. And that way we only have a little. I think I did it here. I did it on one saucer already. There we go. That way they're way out. Gary, for this kit, he said to bring them in because he's sticking a full-on bulb. A 3mm bulb, I believe, in there. And he kept it inside here because you would need the room. Otherwise that bulb would stick way out. But I still don't like bulbs sticking way out. I did that with my refit, and I have to agree with Boyd. It just looks wrong, because it is. Should be smaller and, you know, flush. Which you could get it to glue flush, but this way, with the smaller, which is more accurate, I can get in between there and get it more out to the edges. It's the nice thing with the SMDs, but that's it. And this I'm going to have to go with these, because the refits that way. I did my NX1 that way. It has like two marker lights way out here that were supposed to stay steady on. I put them on with the navs, and then back here I have the strobe. So that it's fairly simple. I think it's about 6mm. Gets me where I want to be. So I'm just coming out here. Actually, I'm going to go off the edge. And the good thing about these is I can scribe a little marker. Alright, so this should be here. And then you can feel to make sure there's a tab. And I'll make a little mark. Because we already have this, because you can go off this panel. Same thing with the front. That'll give you the center. And you just need to mark how far it is off the edge. And this last line. So all you have to do is kind of look. There's a whole array of them coming. Just look for that center one. And again, you can always feel for the tab. And I already marked that one. Did I not mark the front one? No, I marked them all. And it's just as simple as drilling a hole. But this will get us in a better area on the ship. I mean, even this size is going to be a little big, but it's a lot more accurate than sticking a full-on LED bulb through. Unless you go buy some, like, well, even the top hats, you get that small point on that LED, but it still has a big body, and in order to get the bend and not hit, I don't think that would work. I think it's too big for even there. And that's where SMDs come in handy. Just like we did with the engines. You can just glue them flat to the clear plastic piece we'll put in there. And then light block them with a little tulip. And they take less tulip than trying to light block a bulb. Otherwise we'll have red and green windows in this area. And here we'll get bright strobing. Well, I think here I won't even have to light block because all the light bouncing in here is going to be white. So it's, you know, the only reason I might light block it is so that when it does turn off, it's not still semi-glowing from the light bouncing in here. So yeah. But that's it. That's simple as that. And once I figure out more what I'm going to do with the bridge, I could probably go ahead and drill a bulb for like a 3mm bulb. And that'll allow me to light the dome, and then getting these windows is going to be kind of tough because you're going through some thick plastic. But I think we can get it. Or at least some of them, you know. Let's do the bottom. That's simple. The only other things we have to really on this ship is for our engines. We'll have to notch for a bulb, and I'm going to put pulsars back here so they kind of pulsate. I like doing that with the impulse engines. Just give a little more animation. So we'll do that as well. And other than that, that's really it. Except for many, many window holes. And we're getting down to, and I'm stalling, but we're getting down to, I really can't do much more until I start drilling out window holes. I think I'll start on the lower sections first. That way I can finish getting the drive section kind of marked up. Alright, but we have them all marked. Let's drill. Instead of Kevin constantly rambling. Did I mark that? Yeah. I'm trying to make my marks so light that you don't see them once I'm done drilling them. But it's not too bad. The mark I make, it's pretty much hidden from the drill. Alright. Yeah, it's getting down to doing all these window holes. No way around it. Now the other thing I have to do on the other two, because I have the photo etch, is actually add that. There's a wedged piece in here that's kind of a hole. And then it has windows on the back. Kind of like what these are. It's almost exactly like that, but bigger. And it fits. You can kind of see where it's supposed to go. And they never added it to it. And then the photo etch does give you, so you can cut it out and it'll look like that. But it's supposed to be right there. So those we are going to cut out. This one I'm going to leave normal. Alright, that's it. But yeah, it's just a bunch of window holes. The only other hole that's got to go in this is for the wires to sneak up from the lower hull. That's it. And then that keeps us out of the... Some of these pegs got to be out of skew. Like they didn't go exactly... Because here the hole's off to that side. Here it's like pretty much in line. Front it's a little bit off. But we're going by the top, because the top is the Bible. We stay in that grid line. Now as far as the necks, it's just all window holes. Got a ton. They go like that. And we got a ton of window holes to drill. We'll have to glue them. But I want to do the window holes first before I glue them. Because it's going to be so much easier to be like this. And not have this other piece that's kind of only attached like that and happen to try to drill like that. So we'll get some of these windows out. We're on the two actual Enterprises. There's a photo etch for here. And then once we get these together, we can then probably be the safest time, unless we notch it. And that, well, then we lose that registry. Once we get this all glued and solid, then we'll drill the hole through here for our torpedo launcher. So that's all we're getting down to. And I'm not going to bore you with all the window holes. I might show you a few and then move on. So yeah, we're getting to window holes on all the parts. So I measured half of this, which is roughly about 18 millimeters. So I got the center of that. And then what we got to do is we got to create a notch just to create a flat spot. And then we'll tape the two halves tight just for a temporary. We'll tape these two halves tight. And once you get rid of that notch, that gives you so you can center the bulb in there. So we're going to have to flatten that out quite a bit. I think the easiest way to do it. But still leave area to glue. And just start off with that, and I'll finish it up with a file. There we go. I'd rather finish it off with a file. I might want to go even a little wider. Yeah, if I can get this file in there like this, then I know I got it wide enough. I have to go off the edge here. Weird or misshape any of this edge up here. And I'll have to redo my center point. Or I can just eyeball it when I start to drill. That one looks good. And that way, having that notch out of there, you can, when you squeeze the two together, you can drill right down in the center. It's still going to kind of be more up on this upper part. Because it looks like most of that's in there. I can see my center there. I can see my center there. That works. Okay. So for the bridge, I'm going to drill a 3mm for the 3mm bulb to light this whole area. And I'm just going to drill another 3mm for the wiring for the SMD that I'll put in there. And I think this single tip here will give me the 3mm. So I already did a center line here. It's not crucial, but it just gives us an even. Oop. That should do it. And this one, it doesn't matter what size it is. What size it is or where it's at. That's just for wiring. This bulb will be from down below. And we'll just have it poking up through. Now let's make sure a 3mm fits. I'll just grab these junky ones. Doesn't matter what color. Just looking for size. Yep, that works. And then we'll have a white one. We'll just pull it right up like that, and it'll sit in there to give light in this area. Keep the assembly line, and I don't have the transparent one out fully, the kit, so I'll do that at another time. Kind of going off this nub and just kind of just drawing it back to get my center line. It doesn't have to be perfect. And just for giggles to see where I went here, it's kind of right at those points. Right here. So I want it back a little bit because of the bridge dome. And then this one can just be anywhere here. Doesn't really matter. Alright, so on to the next one here. And then we got another one yet to do too. There we go. So, that'll take care of the lighting in the bridge area. Well, we're getting the holes done on these three parts. Here's the upper part of the engineering hall. And then this is the tribute builds neck area, back part. I did just tiny holes, just single holes for this. The windows are so small, and in order to drill them small, the bit just won't give you the ability to channel, and then to try to cut in with a knife, it would have just been a mess. But I think it works fine. Lit wise, I think it really works fine. Got the big ones up on top done as well. This is the one that's going to be the Enterprise D, that's going to be just the drive section. This one I did, and this is the Enterprise D that's going to be the drive section. So these two go together. I used this as my test bed to get a technique and get used to actually widening these windows out. So this side I started on, really started on the big windows here, and then I started on this side, and then continued on once I got a better technique for on those those windows there. I had one knock out the little divider between the windows. I actually used a piece of styrene and filled that divider in. A couple I puttied that I just didn't like how they, it's kind of learning how the drill bit wanted to move. Sometimes they like to walk. But I think I got something down that's kind of working. It's just a slow, long, tedious process. Let's see, at least show you what it looks like with some light behind it. And I did windows randomly different. Most of them are fairly the same. I'm going to have windows that are dark too, so I didn't drill every window out. Like you can see, things are a little different here and here. And let's see if I can get one of these other ones to go. This is Enterprise D. And see, the little holes work fine, especially when it's lit up. And this is the tribute one. Pretty much the same. Things are a little more uniform on this than that one. I'm going to have random windows on and off. This one I'm kind of doing all of them. At least, if I have two here in this row, I have the same two on this row. But I did not do all the windows. So that's where we're at. Just gonna keep continually. Got a lot more holes to do. Got necks to do. Got the bottoms of this part to do. Got a lot more things to do. The saucer, which is going to be fun because their holes are, their oval windows are even longer, even more stretched out. So I'm glad I only have to do that on 2 of these kits. Alright, now got all the holes drilled in the neck here, and I did tiny holes instead of trying to make slotted windows, just like on here. they're just too small to try to hollow those out. But I wanted to get all those drilled before I glued these two halves together, because I knew it would be really a whole lot of fun trying to drill those with this glued together. So this is glued together. Got to finish up the holes on here. The other ship there, she's all done as far as the top. We have to do the bottoms on both. Thank goodness that one we don't have to drill window holes. And then I do have to do the neck for the other one too. As far as the saucers, I started doing a test on the bottom one of the Enterprise D that's going to be saucer separated. See if I can find it. And I figured I would start out in these little... Oh, sorry, I'm hitting the camera. I figured I would start out in these down here to see how they would look. And that one, those aren't too bad there. I'm not liking those there. I might fill those in. The bit just wants to walk or break or all that stuff. So I ordered a whole bunch of new bits. If I've ordered these other bits are supposed to be stronger, so we'll see. And especially in the smaller size, because I'd like to get, it almost seems like I need like a 0.8 to really, here's a 0.8. That's what it needs for that, for those windows. And this one, they're too fragile. As soon as you even trying to drill a hole, as soon as you move a little bit, they'll bend, and that's no good. And once they bend, then they're doing this weird thing. And like, I think I don't know if you can see, there's a bent one there. So I'm hoping these new bits will work, because I really want to do the saucers nice. So I'd rather wait and do them nice, and then I'll do I'll drill a series of holes, and then I hopefully will be able to just ream out. But what I found works good, like with this, is I'll drill 2 holes, and then I'll kind of tilt the bit and then move it back and forth and tilt it, and it actually gives you a nice, it cleans up that channel really nice, so you don't have like a half circle and another half circle where you can see where you drilled the 2 holes. And you can kind of get in here with these and clean them up, but it's not always the best way. I'll go in and clean up some stuff with them afterwards, but if you can, it's so much faster that I found that if I drill the 2 holes and then the bottom hole, I can connect the 2 together and then kind of give it a little bit of a tilt, and then and it reams that out, and it's been working. But so I got a lot of holes in these tops and bottoms, and I want every hole, because also the Aztecing I got has dark windows on the saucers. Down here it don't. So I got to make sure things line up for where I do want dark windows. And then I'll have to actually cut out the black part where I do have a lit window. Because, yeah. So, waiting on good bits. What should be here, it's Saturday. They should be here Monday. At least the first kit that comes with the hand tool and everything. And that'll give me enough bits to get started. And it takes a while with, at least 2 of the kits I have to do the whole building. But, yeah, we got engines are all together on that one, on the drive section one. Started wiring up the other set of engines for the clear run. It's just a slow process, plus I just adopted a turtle, so that's what I've been doing all week too, and half the day today is getting its enclosure for the turtle ready. But that's where we're at. Don't have anything else. No, I think that's all I have for it at this moment. I'm just going to keep continuing drilling these holes, and hopefully Monday I'll get those bits and spend the rest of the week doing the saucer area, and then I do have to do the bottoms of these. But these went pretty fast once I got a good pattern going.